Well, hello. Welcome back to the channel. Well, I hope that you're doing well. So, what do you think of my silly little model? They were so fun to make, even though this one's really simple. It only has 4 expressions so far. But I do want to make a more complicated one in the future, but this will do. I'm so excited to start making videos that will now start focusing on my characters from Project Unfossilized. Also, to celebrate Deltarune Chapter 5 coming out this month, no, I'm not doing any spoilers, don't worry. I just want to say that I'm using the music for the video. I also want to say, again, happy Pride Month and Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. I know I didn't talk about the men's mental health part so much in my Pride post, but it really does deserve just as much spotlight and care. We all should be supporting each other, and double that for queer men as well. I also just want to highlight the fact that I did make some posts on my OCs, and I will also show them again here. We got Rose and Blue, Lavender, Mint, and Nella. Now, obviously those 2 are older pieces. I still gotta redesign them for a separate side story. That will be some time away though. Yeah, I know in my Pride post for myself, I misspelled Solus twice. Whatever, we're here, we're not going back, it's there. That's it. Okay. So before we get into the app session about my characters and the process and whatnot, I want to give an update on my comic process. As of recording, Chapter 7 has been finalized with feedback, and I'm slowly working through Chapter 8. I started to feel a little burnt out, and I took a week off from writing to work on other things, like finishing this video and playing games. I now plan to continue writing again next month. I know I've talked about it a decent amount already, but this is all a new and exciting process for me. I once again keep underestimating the time that these things take and how much work it would just be. I regret nothing, but please don't be surprised that if finishing the outline gets pushed back another month or 2. I'd rather take all the time and breaks I need, have it be done well, than rush it out because I'm eager to start. There's so many details and major changes to keep in mind. Again, shout out to everyone that has supported me and helped me with feedback, especially my Pookie and my dear friends Cass and Antho for doing multiple calls that have been hours long going over the final changes. I love y'all so much, seriously. The story would not be where it's at without you guys. Okay, so I want to mention as well that I plan to keep these all sketches just like my other Fuck. Why is this so hard? Okay, so I wanted to mention as well that I plan to keep these all sketches just like my other character designs. I won't lie, I felt a little pressure for things to look cleaner, especially when using them as a thumbnail, but I can finally do flat colors in a style that I like. But I do plan to go back to the main references and redo them cleaner. That has always been the plan, but I will do that just once I'm done all the rest of the character designs. I'm also going to try my best to talk about each character without giving major spoilers for the story. There's so much more I wish I could say, but you will find that out in time, I promise. So to make up for it, I want to talk about some movies I rewatched this month while drawing. So this video will also double as a mini commentary on the movies The Help, Green Book, and Hidden Figures. Spoilers for these movies, obviously, but I strongly recommend that you watch these movies for yourself. They're tough watches, but they're important and educational. I won't trauma dump, but all I want to say is that these were considered bad movies by my birth giver for a few obvious reasons, including the movie Hairspray. I felt like since moving out, it was really important for me to get more educated on a lot of things. But watching these movies and reading certain books have been really eye-opening. It made me realize that a lot of things that I grew up with were not normal. Both of the books that I read were published over a decade ago, but I still feel like the things that were said were relevant and still affecting the world today. I highly recommend reading Bus Ride to Justice and the New Jim Crow Mass Incarceration in the Age of Colorblindness, and I will let them educate you better than I ever could. I know there is so much more that can be said on these topics, especially when I talk more about the movies. I know this can turn to a very serious and dark topic, but I want to keep it a little lighter and talk about what I enjoyed from the movies and the moments that made me emotional. I don't want to come off as insensitive for keeping things simpler for myself. I will have all the resources mentioned in this video in the description, and again, these sources are all more qualified to educate you better. but I think it's still important to talk about them as I've had my own experiences growing up as a mixed person. I even started to do a lot more research around election times, and it educated me a lot further on tons of issues, including how minorities are being affected to this day. Besides spending hours of doing my own written research from websites, I also found YouTube channels that were very educational as well. I do want to shout out F.D Sɪḻɪṛ for having a lot of interesting insight on all kinds of topics surrounding the Black community. Heck, I even try to start my mornings with a Josh Johnson special to stay educated, but in a way that I can mentally handle. And so much of the things that he has to say are very valuable to me. Even Bose has some good videos commentating on race experiences. I know there's a lot more out there, but these are the ones I can think of right now. If you guys have more Black creator recommendations, please feel free to comment them. Now that we got this intro out of the way, onto the art. So here we have one of Florence's friends from college. Her name is Eleanor, and she's 83. All I will say on the reference is that she's retired from her previous job, but currently she is very involved with the community and local events. I guess for more specific, she would be on the board of something like human relations. She would be a strong advocate for victims of discrimination and fighting for fair treatment. And I feel like the time period she grew up in would make her care about that quite a lot. Eleanor also loves opera because I don't care how silly this sounds, but Iron Mouse got me to really appreciate the genre again for the last few years. Like, seriously, her music box of Fate song is amazing, and all the clips of her just improving over the years of singing different songs has been very inspiring for me. I would think it would be a really cute detail for the couple to go out to shows in the city for holidays. It's unrelated, but I even want to design an OC for the side story that is trained to sing an opera. It was really interesting to learn recently how it can take nearly a decade to be fully trained, and I learned a lot about the process from a ḻʀᴏ, I might be butchering the name, from a ḻʀᴏ singing video, which will also be in the description. Eleanor also spends a decent amount of her downtime reading or helping Richard with his garden. She would definitely be the type of person with her own study and a whole wall dedicated to books from the years, mostly educational, but I'm sure she would enjoy a good romance or fantasy in between. She's also the type of person that just wants to learn more about something and is very curious and maybe even nosy at times. She also has a Black female cat named Luna, and it's bonded to Richard's cat. I know it's a classic name for a cat, and it's also from a certain anime I watched growing up, but it was also the name of my black cat on Webkins back in the day. Like, I get inspired by every little thing, okay? Shit. I thought it would be cute to have her favorite color be purple. From her birthstone earrings and to Richard giving her her wedding ring having amethyst on it. So now that I've talked about what I could right now with Eleanor, onto a mini yap about one of the 3 movies. I actually rewatched The Help this week with the Outline homies. I couldn't even get through the movie without crying even on the 2nd and 3rd watch. All these movies actually did that to me. It's such a brutal yet educational look into how African American maids were treated in white households during the civil rights movement in the 1960s. So here are some of the highlights for me. The friendship between Minnie and Celia is so freaking sweet, and I love how they both comforted each other through their own struggles. I got teary-eyed all over again when Minnie left her husband at the end of the movie. But my goodness, the scene with Minnie breaking into the bathroom and seeing all the blood from Celia on the floor and learning about her multiple miscarriages, oh my god, like in the rose bushes being set up and everything, just, oh, like actually so devastating. Also, Skeeter was great the whole time, and learning about what happened with her maid Constantine had me bawling the first time. So freaking tragic and horrible what her mom did, but I'm glad that her mom came around and stood up for what was right when she was tested again. Then seeing Hilly's response like this when she realizes one of the stories is about her eating the, you could say the chocolate pie.
What's the matter,
Hilly Holbrook is the worst, and every time they got back at her, it was so satisfying. I still hate that at the end of the story, she still had to go after Aibileen and fire her. And the child crying for her, such a heartbreaking way to end it, and unfortunately, it's kind of realistic because the book was just not gonna fix everything. There's still gonna be resistance, there's still gonna be people being that way, so it is a realistic ending, as sad as it is. But I guess I am kind of glad that Aibileen stood up for herself regardless of leaving, but to me, it makes sense that the movie ended the way that it did. Also, on a lighter note, this part of the movie cracks me up too, and is again another satisfying moment of just getting back at Hilly Holbrook.
Oh, just come on home with us tonight, Mother.
No thanks, I got a party.
You throw that pie away right now.
I spent good money on this pie. I want it just for you.
You signed me up?
I may have trouble remembering my own name or what country I live in, but there are two things I can't seem to forget. That my own daughter threw me into a nursing home, and that she ate many shit.
I do want to add in right now, as of recording, that I was told the other night by my partner that he saw an article talking about how Viola Davis regrets her role in The Help. She talks about how there was the criticism towards the movie that overcredited white women for improving race relations, instead of placing more emphasis on the real heroes of the story, which were the black maids. She specifically quotes, "I felt that at the end of the day, it wasn't the voices of the maids that were heard. I know Aiblinn, I know Minnie, they're my grandma, they're my mom, and I know that if you do a movie where the whole premise is I want to know what it feels like to work for white people and bring up children in 1963, I want to hear how they really feel about it. I never heard that in the course of the movie." She does say, however, adamant that it was a good experience, and she still thinks fondly of everyone that she worked with. "The friendships that I formed are ones that I'm going to have for the rest of my life," she told The Times. "I had a great experience with these other actresses who are extraordinary human beings, and I could not ask for a better collaborator than director Tate Taylor." I do actually agree with that as well. I think that's also like a fair criticism. I do think it was kind of important at the same time that someone who grew up with the maid did kind of question and not just follow in the steps and want to be helpful. I think, to me, it's cool that both sides could come together, but I think it's definitely fair that more emphasis should have been put onto the maids. I just thought that was an interesting thing to add in, to think on. I don't know if you guys have any opinions like that yourself. That being said, now on to Richard. This is Eleanor's husband, Richard, and he is 85. I think they would have been high school sweethearts. Stayed together through their highs and lows, but both grew together as people in the end. He is retired, and I would say off the top of my head that he would have been a construction worker. He enjoys building things, and I think it would make a lot more sense for him to want to spend so much time out tending to his garden. It's a big old garden too, with fruit trees and herbs and veggies, and it's his baby. He would enjoy canning and learning how to make new recipes. He is also definitely the cook between the two, and Eleanor is always happy to try the new recipes and hype him up when he brings his food to events. I would say that's his love language, and it definitely reminds me of my best friend. Shout out to her as well, once again. If she's watching, her food is amazing, and I'm honored every time she spoils me with food. Richard is also more introverted as well, and tends to be shy in large groups of people. I won't lie, but part of their dynamic was also inspired by me and my partner. Bro even wears flannels like him too, and just how we are together in our relationship is an inspiration for me as well. I love you, babe, if you're watching this. Speaking of the babe. Nope, we're keeping it. Richard also played piano in school, and sometimes he would play it casually. My man hasn't played in a bit, and when he did, it was so freaking beautiful. He would play a part from Bygone Days from Porco Rosso, and the song still makes me teary-eyed listening to it. It's just another cute detail that I wanted to add, and I feel like Eleanor would respond the same way, and always stop what she's doing when she hears him playing in the other room. I also want to add that his cat that is bonded to Luna is named Snickers, which was inspired by a guinea pig that I used to have with the same fur color. Now on to the next movie. And the one that I want to talk about for Richard is Green Book. Green Book is another movie that takes place in the 1960s, where an Italian-American bouncer becomes the driver for an African-American piano player that is touring in the Deep South. Watching these two grow and bond together throughout the movie was heartwarming, and seeing Dr. Shirley arrive at Tony's door for Christmas dinner at the end, takes me out. Him taking Tony's advice for taking the courage for that step from the hotel room, so good. It still has moments that make me laugh, where the two are bantering over that stupid rock that he stole. And after Tony pushes Dr. Shirley to try fried chicken for the first time, and this happens.
What do about the bones? We do this. This is what we do. What's the big deal, Doc? Squirrels would have eaten it anyway. Pick it up. Nature takes care of the air. Pick it up.
Also, Dr. Shirley correcting Tony a bunch throughout the movie, especially when he's helping him write the letters. The dear thing is just planes, like, all of it's good. But those real moments hit throughout this movie, and they are so well done and powerful. Like the scene in the rain where they get out of the jail, where that fight happens, gives me chills. Like, even leading up to it, it is so uncomfortable how Tony is talking about how he's blacker than Dr. Shirley because he doesn't follow the black stereotypes and has a lot of money. I'm gonna let the scene speak for itself.
Pull over.
What?
Pull over.
I ain't pulling over.
Stop the car, Tony.
What? What are you doing? Doc! Doc, what the hell are you doing? Doc, get back in the car!
You have to live in a castle, Tony. Alone. And rich white people pay me to play piano for them because it makes them feel cultured. But as soon as I step off that stage, I go right back to being just another nigga to them. Because that is their true culture. And I suffer that slight alone because I'm not accepted by my own people, because I'm not like them either. So if I'm not black enough, and if I'm not white enough, and if I'm not mad enough, then tell me, Tony, what am I?
It's my heart that Tony's wife knew when Dr. Shirley was helping him with writing the letters. And when she secretly thanks him at the Christmas party, it makes me smile every time. I also love the bar scene where Dr. Shirley gets to go crazy on the piano, like at the Orange Bird, and the whole room cheers for him, and Tony hyping him up, and then going with Dr. Shirley into an all-black restaurant was so sweet. To feel that like parallel dynamic of how uncomfortable Dr. Shirley probably feels pretty much walking anywhere else. That woo cracks me up every time. Now on to the last design of the batch, Stephanie. She's the only child of Eleanor and Richard and is 53. Stephanie took over her mom's business once Eleanor retired, actually. She was working another job in the field, but it was too overwhelming for her to continue, and her mom retiring was the perfect way out. She's in management, and that's all I can say right now, and is much happier on top of moving back to her town with her parents. She doesn't live with them, but close enough for this job and to see them. Steph would definitely be a very bubbly human being and just a ball of sunshine to be around. She wears a charm bracelet to keep track of special moments and memories because she's just cute like that. She's also super organized in work and at home. She has a mini schedule and everything, the cute little pens, the color code each month. I won't lie, but that's just actually inspired by how I manage parts of my ADHD. In the last year or so, I found a really good journaling system, and I color code all my stuff as well. I even use certain colored pens for each month at work, and I just like having those little details into my characters that are inspired by parts of my life. I just think it's fitting, and I was way too excited to put that in there. Even though it's just a small thing, I just feel like it makes the character so much more lively. Steph would sometimes go out of the box and wear funky patterns on her uniform, and she loves big golden jewelry. She would sometimes go over to her parents and help up with the garden too, but she does have a fear of bugs. She goes with her mom to these community events because she wants to socialize and start making friends again, but I'm definitely sure she's had a few at this point. She's been there for a while. So, now on to the final movie that I'll be talking about in this video, Hidden Figures, which was actually the first movie that I watched out of all three of these. I don't watch shorts like I used to because it's just really not good for me, but I did find a clip from the movie and was interested, and that's how this whole thing started. But Green Book, I saw a short as well. It's about 3 African-American women fighting racial and gender discrimination while working for NASA and helping with John Glenn's launch. They're all mathematicians, and I love that each of them find their own place and role. It's just great. I think that their supportive dynamic together is also really sweet. The moments of them showing off how smart they are when they're being doubted is always going to be satisfying to me. Like Dorothy fixing the car, or any scene with Catherine just figuring out all the darn answers, no matter how much the others try to sabotage her. Also, this scene with Mary is fantastic too.
Wavelength relationships. Yes?
I'm Mary Jackson. I'm Monroe.
Well, the curriculum is not designed for teaching a woman.
Well, I imagine it's the same as teaching a man.
And then her just sitting in the front row as the only black woman there, just mwah, chef kiss. I know the big scene from the movie that people probably are thinking of right away is the scene where Catherine just goes off about the bathroom situation. Taraji's? How do you say it? Oh god, I have to look this up. Taraji? Oh my god. I'm so bad with pronouncing shit. Taraji's acting in the scene where she talked about there being no bathrooms for her to use in the building gives me chills. And just her screaming about the coffee pot. It is such a raw performance, and I will leave a link to the scene in the description because it would be too long to play the whole scene out. Please do yourself a favor and watch it. I also heard from multiple comments that she did not win an Oscar for this performance, and I just think that's a crime. But I have to say again that all the scenes of Catherine just winning and showing the whole room how smart she is will never not make me smile. The payoff of letting her into that room during the launch made me so freaking happy. There's also discussion about how people wondered how historically accurate it was for Mr. Harrison to be, like, as supportive as he was in the movie. But part of me wants to really believe it's true. I hope so. I might look more into it myself, or if anyone does know, feel free to comment that as well. But I just love how he got Catherine pearls as a gift for her wedding after the whole scene of saying she couldn't afford them. And just standing up for the discrimination that Catherine was dealing with and just treating her as an equal. You know, taking the label off the coffee pot, knocking down the sign. I mean, I still think the line of him saying, like, we all pee the same color, it's funny, but also, like, great at the same time. Also, yeah, Big Bang Theory guys in there, but I don't watch that show. So, okay, here they all are. I feel like even though these are different characters, personalities, and experiences, I'm still finding ways to express myself through them. I think it's really special to me that all of them have a little or a big part of me put inside them. I feel like I can write certain experiences more realistically that way because I lived them, but also I want to research and write new things as well. Designing these three characters has also forced me to practice drawing more older people, and the project in general actually, because Florence and Klaus count, and I'm pretty happy with how all of them turned out actually. Even though we don't have any coffee members to shout out, I want to say thank you for watching this video. I do want to say again that if you want to see the behind the scenes stuff and weekly updates, feel free to become a bread slice on Ko-fi. I hope to see you guys around for the next video with my final batch of character designs next month. Bye bye!